My wife humiliated me at our friend's wedding by laughing and telling a circle of people, "He's lucky I married down." She said it like it was cute, like I was a joke she paid extra for. Folks laughed, real loud too, and the sound hit me in the chest harder than the words. I stood there, smiling like a fool because I didn't want to ruin the couple's night. I didn't want to be that man who can't take a joke. But inside, something cracked. I didn't even feel angry at first. I felt small, like I was watching myself disappear in public. Here's how it happened. Our friend Malik was getting married in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it was one of those weddings that felt like a whole event. The kind where the invite looks expensive and the aunties start planning outfits weeks in advance. My wife Simone and I had been together for 6 years, married for 3. From the outside, we probably looked solid, 2 black professionals, nice apartment, vacations here and there. But behind closed doors, Simone had this habit of turning my love into a weakness she could use. The week of the wedding, Simone acted like I was her assistant instead of her husband. "Tony, did you steam my dress?" "Tony, call the hotel again." "Tony, make sure my heels are in the bag." It wasn't the tasks that hurt, it was the tone. Like I existed to make her look good. When I'd gently push back, she'd smile that sweet smile and say, "Babe, I'm stressed. Don't start." And I'd swallow it. I always swallowed it. I thought being patient was the same as being strong. The morning we left, I tried to lighten the mood. Simone was in the bathroom doing her hair, and I yelled, "If you take one more hour, Malik Ghanbi is celebrating his 10-year anniversary before we leave." She laughed, actually laughed, and for a second it felt like old times. I leaned against the doorframe, watching her line her edges with the focus of a surgeon. I told her she looked beautiful. She said, "I know," but she smiled a little. That tiny softness gave me hope I didn't deserve. On the drive from Raleigh to Charlotte, Simone played our old playlist, 90s and early 2000s R&B, the kind that makes you sing like you got a record deal. I sang off-key on purpose just to annoy her, and she slapped my arm and said, "Boy, shut up before you crack the windshield with that voice." I grinned and kept singing louder. She rolled her eyes, but she was smiling. We stopped for gas and snacks, and I bought her those gummy peach rings she likes, even though they taste like sweet rubber bands to me. We checked into the hotel downtown, and it was nice, clean, bright, expensive in that way that makes you walk slower so you don't break something. Simone posted a mirror selfie immediately. I was in the background holding a garment bag like a butler, and she didn't even notice. I joked, "At least tag me as your hard-working assistant." She didn't laugh. She said, "Tony, don't be weird." That "don't be weird" had become her favorite way to shut me down when I was pointing at something real. That evening, we went to the welcome dinner. Everybody was there, black folks in linen and perfume, laughter bouncing off the walls, old classmates calling each other because like they grew up on the same block. Simone turned on her charm like a switch. She hugged people, complimented outfits, laughed at jokes she would have ignored at home. People told me, "Tony, you got a good one." I nodded polite. Inside, I felt like I was watching a performance, and I was the stage she stood on without acknowledging. Malik's best man, Darius, was there too. Darius is one of those men who don't talk much, but when they do, you listen. He's tall, neat beard, eyes that look like he remembers everything. He dapped me up and asked how I was doing. Really asked, not just "What's up?" I told him I was good. He held my gaze like he didn't believe me, then smiled and said, Just checking." Simone hugged him a little too long and said, "Darius always been a real one." Something about it sat wrong. Back in the hotel room, Simone criticized my outfit for the wedding. "That tie's too plain," she said like I was a child going to picture day. I said it matched the suit. She sighed hard, like I was draining her life force. "Tony, I'm trying to help you," she said. "You always want to do things your way, and it's never the best way." That sentence should have made me mad, but I just felt tired. I changed the tie. I told myself I was being flexible. I didn't admit I was being trained. The wedding day came with sunlight and nerves. Simone took forever getting ready, and I stood there holding her shoes, passing her earrings, running back and forth like a runner in a relay I didn't sign up for. At one point, she looked at me and said, "Don't sweat through your shirt. That's so embarrassing." I froze, like sweat was a moral failure. Then she softened, barely, and adjusted my collar with her manicured fingers. "I just want you to look nice," she said. That tiny touch almost made me forget the insult. At the venue, everything looked perfect. Flowers, string lights, the kind of setup that makes you believe in love again even if your own love is limping. Malik's bride, Aisha, looked radiant. Simone leaned over and whispered. Aisha did her thing. She leveled up. Then she looked at me and added, "See, Malik married up. Some men know what to do." She said it like a joke, but her eyes stayed on me a second too long. It felt like a warning. Don't forget who's in charge of your story. During the ceremony, I tried to be present. I watched Malik's face when Aisha walked down the aisle, soft, grateful, like he couldn't believe he got to be chosen. I wanted that. I wanted to feel chosen instead of tolerated. Simone squeezed my hand for a moment, and I let myself lean into it. Her nails pressed into my skin, not painful, but sharp enough to remind me she was there. When the vows ended, everyone clapped and cheered. Simone cheered loudest. I wondered if she missed the feeling of being loved like that. Cocktail hour was where the real social game started. People circulated with drinks, pretending not to assess each other, while definitely assessing each other. Simone floated through groups like she was running for office. I followed behind, smiling, holding her clutch when she didn't want to. She introduced me like I was part of her resume. "This is Tony, my husband," she'd say, and the pause before husband always felt like she was deciding whether I'd earned the title that day. I laughed at jokes. I kept the peace. That was my specialty. A friend of ours, Keisha, asked Simone how married life was. Simone smiled wide and said, "Girl, it's good. I trained him." She laughed like that was adorable. Keisha laughed too. I chuckled because my face didn't know what else to do. Inside, something twisted. I wasn't a dog. I wasn't a project. I was a man who loved her. I opened my mouth to say something light, something playful to redirect. Simone cut in immediately. "Tony knows I'm playing," she said, but her eyes told me not to embarrass her with honesty. At the reception, the music hit and people loosened up. The DJ played old school, and for a few songs, Simone actually danced with me. For a moment, it was funny and sweet. She tried to teach me that little shoulder roll everybody does, and I kept messing it up on purpose until she laughed so hard she had to hold my arm. I leaned close and told her she smelled amazing. She smiled and whispered, "I know." It was half arrogance, half flirt. That tiny romantic moment made me feel like maybe I was wrong. Maybe things weren't that bad. Then the drinks kept flowing, and Simone's sweetness soured. She started talking louder, showing off. We stood with a group, some of Malik's cousins, some old friends, and Simone started telling stories about me like I wasn't standing right there. "Tony used to dress like somebody's uncle going to Home Depot," she said. People laughed. "He didn't know what sushi was," she added. More laughter. I tried to laugh along, but each laugh felt like I was signing a form agreeing that I deserved disrespect. Simone looked pleased, like the room's laughter was applause. And then she said it. She put her hand on my shoulder, possessive, performative, and smiled brightly. "He's lucky I'm married down," Simone said, like she was delivering the punchline of the night. The group erupted. Somebody slapped a knee. Somebody said, "Damn." I felt my face go hot. My ears rang. My mouth smiled because my body didn't know how to do anything else. I looked around for somebody, anybody, to check her. My boys looked away. People I'd helped move apartments, people I'd driven to the airport, people who call me family, just let it happen. Simone kept going. "I fixed him," she said. "He'd be lost without me." She started listing things I did. Paying bills on time, showing up early, being boring, like those were flaws. She made it sound like I was a charity case. I wanted to disappear. I wanted to step outside and breathe. But I stayed. I stayed because I didn't want to cause a scene at Malik and Aisha's wedding. I stayed because I'd been trained to think my dignity was less important than her comfort. That's what hurt the most. I saw Darius watching from across the room. His jaw was tight. His eyes weren't laughing. He looked like a man trying to decide whether to mind his business or save somebody. Simone noticed him too and waved like she was a celebrity. Darius didn't wave back. He just stared a moment longer, then walked toward the bar. I tried to swallow my shame. I told myself, just get through the night. Drive back. Talk later. But I knew Simone. Later would become, "You're too sensitive," and why are you trying to fight? And then cold silence as punishment. When it was time for speeches, I felt sick. Simone had calmed down, but not because she regretted anything. She just got distracted by attention. Malik's dad gave a sweet toast, and people cheered. Aisha's sister made everyone cry. Then the DJ announced Darius, the best man. Darius stood, adjusted his suit, and took the mic. The room quieted with that respectful hush people give a man who looks serious. Simone smiled like she expected a funny story. I held my breath, not sure why. Something in Darius's face said this wasn't going to be cute. Darius didn't start with jokes. He didn't start with, I remember when Malik, he looked straight at Simone first, then at me. Before I toast the couple, he said calm, I need to say something, because I can't sit here and watch a man get cut down for entertainment. The room got stiff. People shifted in their seats. Simone's smile froze. Darius continued, voice steady. Respect is not a punchline, he said, and love don't look like public humiliation dressed up as a joke. The words landed heavy like stones. Simone tried to laugh it off. Oh my God, here we go, she said, loud enough to be heard. Darius didn't flinch. Simone, he said, you keep saying Tony married up and you married down. But the truth is, Tony's been carrying more than you ever told people. He paused, like he was choosing how to be truthful without turning it into spectacle. I'm not here to embarrass you for sport, he said, but I am here to stop you from rewriting that man's life right in front of him. My chest tightened. I felt exposed and seen at the same time. Darius looked at me again. Tony, he said, check your email when you get second. That was it. He set the mic down and turned back to Malik. Then, like flipping a switch, he gave a normal toast, quick, respectful, focused on the couple. People clapped awkwardly, relieved to escape the tension. Simone sat there with a tight mouth, eyes sharp with anger, not shame. She didn't look at me. She didn't ask if I was okay. She leaned to her friend and whispered something, and they both smirked like I was the problem for letting it be real. I couldn't breathe in that room anymore. I walked outside to the parking lot, sat in the car, and opened my phone. I found Darius's email. My hand shook. Inside were screenshots, messages, dates, a pattern. Simone talking to another man like I was an inconvenience she had to manage. The messages weren't romantic. They were disrespectful. Like I was a wallet with legs. There were hotel confirmations. There were I can't stand him jokes. And there were names I recognized, people at this wedding. People who laughed when she said she married down. My stomach turned so hard I thought I might throw up. I sat there for a long time, just staring. Then I went back inside, not to confront her, but to survive the rest of the night without ruining Malik and Aisha's wedding. Simone acted normal, too normal. She took pictures. She danced. She posed with Malik's aunties like she was a sweetheart. She didn't once look guilty. She didn't check on me. When we finally left, she walked ahead of me like I was carrying invisible bags again. In the hotel room, she kicked off her shoes and said, that best man is messy as hell. Then she turned over and went to sleep. The next morning, I didn't yell. I didn't cry in front of her. I moved quietly, like a man who finally realized noise wouldn't save him. While Simone showered, I opened a new bank account on my phone and moved only what was legally mine from the joint account. I froze my credit. I changed my passwords. I took screenshots of everything Darius sent and stored them in multiple places. Then I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at my hands, realizing I'd been begging for scraps of respect from someone who enjoyed starving me. When Simone came out, she looked at me and said, why you got that face? On the drive back to Raleigh, Simone talked like nothing happened. She played music. She complained about traffic. She asked what we should eat when we got home. I barely answered. Finally, she snapped, Tony, you're doing that quiet thing again. It's childish. I told her calm. I know about the cheating. She didn't deny it. She didn't apologize. She laughed. One short laugh like I was ridiculous. And said, so you went through my stuff? Wow, that's pathetic. Then she added, you weren't even satisfying me emotionally. What did you expect? The cruelty was casual, like she was commenting on the weather. After that, she punished me with abandonment like it was a strategy. She stayed with her cousin in Baltimore and told people I was controlling. She posted smiling pictures like she was thriving. When we spoke, she was cold and sharp. "You'll regret this," she said. "You don't have options." I didn't argue. I just kept moving. I met with a lawyer in Durham on my lunch break. I started therapy quietly, not because it was trendy, but because I didn't trust my own mind anymore. I felt betrayed by everyone: friends who laughed, family who excused her, and myself for staying. Karma didn't come with fireworks. It came with consequences she couldn't talk her way out of. Without my income attached, she couldn't get approved for the upgrade apartment she bragged about. The man she'd been sneaking with, married, cut her off the moment his wife got suspicious. Her credit issues, which she used to hide behind my stability, caught up to her fast. Simone didn't suddenly become sorry. She became angry that her cushion was gone. She sent nasty texts. She tried to bait me into fights. I blocked her and let the silence be my protection. My success stayed private. A peaceful place, steady sleep, and a mind that wasn't constantly bracing for humiliation. A year later, I wasn't famous. I wasn't making speeches. I was just, I got a promotion because I could finally focus without chaos at home. I learned how to cook a few real meals instead of surviving on stress and takeout. And I laughed at myself the first time I burned salmon, so bad my smoke alarm sounded like it was judging me. I went on a small, quiet date with a woman who listened and didn't turn kindness into a weapon. Nothing dramatic, just normal, warm, honest. The moral hit me slowly. Love without respect is not love, it's control. And choosing yourself isn't revenge, it's survival. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.